Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the WIM Speaks Show. I am your host, Danielle Jeter, holding it down for the number one sisterhood in the industry, Women in the Media Global. And just like every other show, I'm going to start this show with sharing some good information that you might not know about me. So let's get into these emojis, okay? I want to share two emojis, one that I like, one that I don't like. Let's start with the one that I do not like. I do not like the thumbs up emoji. I feel like it gives very passive, just give me a heart instead. It gives me, better emotional feelings when you use that one. Sometimes my mama be using that thumbs up and I'll be like, I do not like that emoji. Just throw me a heart. And on the flip side, the emoji that I love is the new heart. The one where they make, with the hands. That's my favorite emoji. And I like the black heart too. So we are in for another treat because this episode is going to bring more fire and more information. And I'm so excited to have Jacqueline Charles on the show today. Welcome to our show. Today is all about amplifying underrepresented voices. This topic is one that will be timeless here at the Women in Media Show because it is our mission. It is why we started this platform of Women in Media before we even had a show. We decided to create this organization to represent women, to remind them to own their voices so that the voices of women in the industry are not just underrepresented. They're not getting the acknowledgement that they need, right? So we wanted to elevate those voices and lift those voices up. And so, Jacqueline, you are kind of infamous in the industry.
Yeah. So infamous means I'm bad. So no, and I do have my haters, but yeah.
I look at
a hate situation going on.
You are legendary. You have made some noises, right? Because when I did my research, me and you never met. You got a blanket email from me because I did my research, and you are tied to this particular topic right here because of the work that you have been doing for a long time. Jacqueline Charles is an award-winning journalist with the Miami Herald, renowned for her reporting on Haiti and the Caribbean. With more than 20 years in the field, she has covered critical issues like natural disasters, immigration, and international relations.
And a presidential assassination.
Which president?
President of Haiti 4 years ago.
Okay.
July 7th.
Come on, get my bio right, okay? Jacqueline's work has earned her numerous accolades, and she has been recognized as one of the most respected voices in global journalism, and that is why she is here today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Okay, we can Google her.
Don't believe everything you read when you Google it.
So how are you feeling today?
So today has basically been like a crazy day because I had absolutely no weekend. We had like a major story with the arrest of a prominent Haitian businessman. Everybody was texting me since Friday to ask me, one, who is it? Two, are the blogs right? So everybody has literally been like waiting for me to put the story out. And I have to tell you, I am a journalist, okay? I love a good scoop. I love being first, but today was a lesson in why you don't always want to be first, because being first doesn't always mean you get the story right or you fall into a trap. So today has been like a really long day. So the fact that I'm here, I wasn't sure if I was going to make it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming and honoring your yes, right? Commitment, professionalism. I know that goes a long way. Yes. And you know all about that. So we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So what keeps you committed to telling stories of underrepresented voices, especially those in the Haitian community?
So I think you hit it. Underrepresented voices. Not everybody has access to the microphone. Not everybody has access to either myself or you. And so being able to tell their stories and to go beyond the policies or the announcements and to talk about how real people are affected by decision, whether it's a mom who is fostering a kid and is about to lose his child because she doesn't qualify to adopt this kid because of her income, but she loves this kid and provides this kid with everything. And that was one of those first stories I did when I got out of college, and I always remember it. To people who, have just become victims overnight of either the gang violence that's going on in Haiti or, hurricanes and storms, which I write about. Just being able to tell those people's stories and having readers outside of the country or even inside outside the country, just to be able to humanize and say, you know what, this could be me, or I need to feel something beyond the headline. So that is what's important for me. Being able, right now we are in a situation where a lot of the stories are about immigration and what's happening in terms of immigration. A lot of Americans have absolutely no idea about immigration and how it works. Like, well, why aren't you a citizen? You've been here for 30 years. They have, no idea. So the way you educate people about it is like spending time with somebody who has been here 30 years and who has been undocumented, not illegal, but undocumented, because human beings are not illegal, but undocumented, and what their day-to-day struggle and their day-to-day reality is, reminding all of us that we're humans, and we are all literally like one paycheck, one decision away from either being undocumented, being unemployed, being on welfare, whatever it is. I mean, rich people lose their money all of the time, and I think that people often forget that.
I love that you brought up a fact and debunked something, because our president says illegal all the time. And so I'm glad that you brought clarity to that.
Yeah, see, the AP style, I'm a journalist, and AP style says, no, you can talk about somebody who illegally entered, but individuals are human beings. It's like we're not aliens. We are human beings. Yeah, we're undocumented, meaning we don't have documents. We are not, legally able to be in a country, but illegal, yeah.
I think your work is so important because a lot of attention is on the gossip news. It's on the celebrity, this, that, and the third, right? And then people come to me with that, and I don't really have an interest. I don't know what this person or that person is doing, right? But these are...
Malcolm Jamal Warner did die today in a drowning accident.
Who died in a drowning?
Malcolm Jamal Warner. Yeah, he died today. Accidentally drowned. Theo, yeah. Theo, yeah.
Well, condolences to him, his family. Condolences to his family and his friends, and rest in peace.
But along what you said, TMZ was the first to report the story, and then AP, which a lot of newspapers subscribe to, then had to follow TMZ. So you're right. Yeah, there's a lot of emphasis on the celebrity news, the celebrity gossip, and that's all great. We all tune in, but at the same time, you need to know what's going on in your neighborhood, in your city, in your country, or in the world around you.
I want you to really break that down. TMZ versus AP. Take us back, give us some educational notes.
What's interesting is that today when you talk to your friends and family members about where they get their news from, it's amazing, because you will hear people, their first source of news is either TMZ or it's YouTube. And then they will start to preach to you about a position, what they saw, what they had. And then for those of us who are like in the legitimate, media sphere, we do our research, you're fighting this uphill battle, right? And it is very difficult. But yeah, when you look at something like TMZ and the fact that they are always the ones that are like putting this stuff out. Now, we don't need to talk about how, the sausage gets made, because that's a whole other issue. But then legitimate, media like the Miami Herald, like Associated Press, Reuters, and now you have to match that story, or you have to be better. And, we can't pay people for news. We still have to abide by journalistic ethics, but it's also a reality of the world that we live in today, and of a generation that they're very about instant. I'm on X because I have a huge amount of following. I have people like, I'm not going to go to X. I can't afford to leave X because it's
sound bites, right? It's short form. It's quick.
They want the headline.
Let me just get a quick this or that, and then that's it, So let's get into our next question. How has media coverage shaped the global understanding of Haitian people and politics?
So are we talking about politics in Haiti or politics in the United States?
In the United States.
So first of all, let me just say there's this very interesting debate that's taking place in the Haitian community right now. Am I Haitian American, or am I American of Haitian descent? And, we can have a debate all day long about it, but there's a political angle in that debate, in the sense that you're in the United States and you can vote, and your vote is your power, and that's your voice. And so if you want to affect policy in Haiti, or even in your neighborhood or wherever, how do you view yourself? Because how do you view yourself really, influences that power of that vote. But I think one of the things I will tell you, like you talk about your emojis, which I don't use, I'm sorry, that annoys me is this idea.
Not at all? Not when you text your friend?
If you saw my WhatsApp right now, you would understand. I'm just running through it. And if you need me, WhatsApp me. Don't text me because it may take like a few weeks. But it's that people expect for Haitians to be on the same page, right? It's like the same argument with Black people. Like, well, y'all all Black. Y'all should like think alike. Why y'all divided? And a couple of years ago, I went to Kenya. And it was very interesting when I went to Africa. Africa is like this very interesting experiment where, as Black people, we know that we're from Africa and we go around like I'm African. And then when you go to Africa, it's like your whole life is a puzzle and it's been this missing piece. And you've discovered this missing piece the minute you arrive. But that piece of the puzzle, it does not fit perfectly. It does not fit as much as you try to like force it in. And that's when you really do realize, I think for Americans, oh my God, I'm African American because I'm not African. Like there's something different. And then when you go to Africa, what you realize, like there are like people like in Kenya, they were telling me there were 60 tribes and they were adamant about this. And yeah, we're all Black, but we have different thinking. We're different, and all of that. I like to subscribe to that, what I think about in the United States. While yes, there are things about our experience as Black people in America that we should all be on the same page about, but I think we have to acknowledge that we're different. And so back to your original question, one of the problems of the Haitian community in terms of even media coverage or just a conversation, why are y'all not together? Why are y'all not unified? Why are y'all so divided? And I think that becomes an excuse to getting to the next step, right? This expectation that we should all be alike. And I've had to remind myself constantly, like, y'all took Black people from different tribes in Africa and you put them on this island called Hispaniola. And then part of it was Haiti, part of it was DR, even though we controlled the DR at some point. But people are allowed to be different. We just need to find those commonalities and then advance. But that is, I think, and in general, the media often gets it wrong. Sometimes I get it wrong. But, my benefit is that I've got one foot in and one foot out. I am of Haitian descent, even though I wasn't born in Haiti or lived in Haiti, but I have that Haitian experience. I tell people I'm the person that goes down to the Miami River and I'm sending, the barrels and the boxes to Haiti because I have family that I have to, support. But oftentimes, people parachute into the country and they have absolutely no idea. And let me just say this as an example. So the 2010 earthquake, 7.2 earthquake, it hits Haiti. Over 300,000 people died. Yes, over 300,000. I saw bodies. But everybody keeps reporting. The media keeps saying, oh, over 200,000, over 100,000, over 60,000. Like, really? The Haitian government says 300,000. I would think that they should know how many people died, right? A lot of foreign journalists, when they came, they went to the palace. And then they didn't see anybody. So all these stories was about how the Haitian government and the president was absent after this major disaster because they were at the palace. But when I got off the plane at the airport, the entire Haitian government, including the president, was sitting at the police station that's at the end of the runway. And that was like the most vocal that the president was at that point. And then you saw this division. I remember Hillary Clinton coming down. All the foreign press was at the airport and all of the local press was at the police station, and so, but all of the narrative and the stories that were coming out, with the exception of the Miami Herald, and it wasn't just me, we had a bunch of reporters there, but it was all about the absence of the Haitian government. So it's that kind of framing, and unfortunately that doesn't help the narrative of the country going forward.
So where is the fact checking in this? Is there a proper process and procedure that should be taken for, are people going back and making corrections sometimes? I know it's hard to retract stuff versus out on the internet.
Yes, they read me. But no, unfortunately, and the fact checking doesn't happen because oftentimes too, like people have this idea in their head and you will hear people repeat the same conspiracy theories or things over and over and over again. And that's just and that is actually one of the larger problems with media today. Like everybody's a journalist. No offense to anybody out there who's blogging or whatever, but I went to journalism school. I had to learn how to fact check. I had to learn like the basics. I can't libel you. I can't slander you. But a lot of people today are just like, okay, well, I'm just going to start a newsletter. Or I'm just going to start a blog site. And then boom. And you have this large audience that is the only place that they get their news from, so it's a challenge, right? I mean, I still believe in traditional media. We have a place, we exist, but you're constantly in this battle for, we are not the fake news media. I mean, we check, we dot our I's, we cross our T's, and when we get it wrong, we say we got it wrong.
I think that from my standpoint, being a publicist in the industry, I think that we add a lot of value because if I am now issuing something to you on behalf of, I'm representing the government, I'm representing an entity, right? So I'm developing and sending out communications documents. I'm sending out the press release that hopefully, you all will take a look at and be able to utilize as information, not just the one piece of fact, but I think it's important that these entities and governments and all of the powers to be and all of these brands actually have representatives who can represent them in the story as colleagues with journalists.
And you call us out, right? I mean, clearly you're going, if you have your client, there's a certain narrative that you want to push, and that's fine. But if I get the fact wrong, you say,
it's
listen,
the fact.
The fact.
It's
You're
the
like,
fact.
listen, no, it's not 1 million, it's 1.3 or whatever have you. No, we can argue about
Right.
shape or whatever, but it's the fact.
Yeah. You're going to have an angle that you may have an angle, an idea in mind. Of course, I'm going to come and present the angle that we want. But as a journalist, if we decide to work together, you at the end of the day control the story.
And I think that that's what a lot of people don't realize. Like, you have to control the narratives. What I find about governments is not just the Haitian government, Caribbean in general, because I cover the Caribbean. Sometimes they think like silence is the best thing. It's like, no. If you say something, unless I really know that you are lying, I have to write your response, right? So it's not just because somebody's writing a story and you don't like it and you're mad and then you just go to silent mode or you don't respond. I tell them, I'm like, respond. Even if it's a no comment, respond. But if you don't respond and you stay silent, that story takes on like a life of its own. And then that narrative gets shaped. And now people are hiring somebody like you to come clean
it up. Right? Because then you all may go on record and be like, yeah, we sent out a correspondence to this person. We got no response back.
Exactly. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't moved on to the next story.
Yeah. Right. And then we are cleaning up crisis communications.
Yes, crisis. Olivia Pope, right?
Olivia, pay us a lot of money for that. This was great. Okay. So I hope I can ask this question. I'm going to just ask for forgiveness later. So what are your thoughts on the current U.S. political rhetoric around Haitian migrants and particularly Donald Trump's recent statements?
Which ones?
Talk about maybe something you have written about or covered.
Okay, so first of all, as a journalist, we are not allowed to have opinions. So we deal with facts. So among the recent statements, just a few weeks ago, the Trump administration decided that they were going to end temporary protected status. So temporary protected status is something that the United States provides for countries that are in turmoil, civil war, strife, natural disasters. It's been around since 1990. And so for the nationals of those countries, which includes Haiti, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Venezuela, they were able to be in the United States and have like legal protections from deportations, meaning you have a document, you can work and you can drive a car and you can basically earn a living without this fear that in the middle of the night somebody's going to come and put you on a plane and ship you to like Syria somewhere. The Trump administration has been ending TPS. There's also a number of African countries that have also been involved and have gotten it over the years. And on the issue of Haiti, he says, or the administration says, Haiti has improved. The conditions in Haiti no longer warrant temporary protected status. The conditions in Haiti, more than 5.7 million people who are going hungry. Some of them are famine-like conditions. Half of them are basically children. 6 million people, give or take, in need of some sort of humanitarian aid. Women who are being raped, whether they're in their house or they are in these displacement camps with no drinking water, no latrines. 1.3 million people who have been forced out of their homes, and every single day people are being forced out. What does that mean? Imagine you're sleeping in your house in the middle of the night and the gangs come shooting, burning, and you are literally forced to leave with the clothes on your back and to just go someplace. And often that place is under a tree or it's in a public plaza. I have seen so much that oftentimes you have your own PTSD and you have to have your own defense mechanism. And I'm a person I watch sad little show and I'll start crying. But in this job that I do, especially when I travel to Haiti and I see so much, if you start crying, you're never going to stop crying. But I remember 2 years ago, I was there and I was with this Irish businessman, Dennis O'Brien. He owns Digicel. Well, he owned Digicel, which was one of the largest phone companies in the Caribbean. And he has a foundation. And so I was with him at the school. And I'm at the school. And these are kids, they're in their nice fresh uniforms, and his assistant was saying, well, what do you guys want? It was not too far from Christmas. And here these kids are asking for a toy car, a doll, just toys. And I literally just started crying because I was thinking about the fact that, first of all, these are kids that could be in any country or they could be here in the United States. And for 8 hours they're in school, but the situation had changed so much in Haiti that for their parents, the 8 hours did not mean a moment to relax, to breathe a sigh of relief. Because weeks earlier, earlier, there were kids who were at a school and the gangs had surrounded the neighborhood, and those kids were literally locked in their school for the entire weekend. So even in school, where you could get killed by a flying bullet, or the bell rings at the end of the day and you can't leave, or you're walking home through gang gunfire, that's what people are being sent back to. Over 500,000 people in the United States today. A lot of them were professionals, people like you and I.
500,000.
Yeah, 500,000, over 500,000. And they fled, not because they wanted to leave their countries or live the American dream, but because they had no choice. Yeah. And so now, if you force them back, where do they go? Many of their neighborhoods have been taken over by armed gangs that no longer exist. 90% of the capital, 4 million people, is now controlled by armed gangs. And there's no mercy. There's kidnappings, there's killings, people's businesses are going up in flames. So yeah, so that's one of those. And of course, the famous one is about Haitian sea cats. I'm Haitian, and I've never eaten a cat in my life. That's all I'm gonna say.
I remember, that was on the election time. He was talking about that. Yeah, I remember. And then
and I just saw a video with Stephen Miller saying like Haitians have nothing to provide to the United States. And I just want to say for your audience who don't realize this, so Louisiana and New Orleans would not exist had it not been for the Haitian Revolution, because the slaves were fighting and defeating the most powerful army in the world, Napoleon, and he needed more money, and so he had to give up on his dreams of expanding into the United States. So he had to sell. That's called the Louisiana Purchase. So he had to sell it to the U.S., and that's how the U.S. was able to double its size. Second of all, War of Independence in Savannah, there's a guy called Henri Christophe who later became the first and only king of Haiti. He was a little drummer boy, and there were a number of other Haitian leaders who basically, there was a colored regiment from Saint Domingue, which was Haiti, became Haiti, that fought and allowed the United States to win its war against British. And if that's too far in terms of your history, well, here in South Florida, you can look around, you go to a hospital. Is that doctor or that nurse or that nurse's aide? Are they, we're asking where they're from. What's that
I'm
last
not
name?
sure if he's actually foolish or if this is an act. Because I'm like, when you look at our president's history, he went to school. He got some degrees. He studied some stuff. But I'm like, is this an act or are you like,
Well, we have contributed very well. We are university presidents and first Black woman to be, president of Harvard University, despite whatever they did. Haitian heritage, Atari, Haitian. What was that car? The Chrysler 3000. What was that? What they call it? The Black man's Rolls Royce. And he's Haitian. Who created?
We had one of them at my house.
Yeah. So no, we are everywhere. I mean, listen, where you were born geographically does not decide your intelligence level. But one of the things that have been very clear is that when Haitians or people from the Caribbean in general, it's Jamaica, Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas. I'm sorry, Hamilton from Nevis, the first head of the Federal Reserve. When we have come to a place like the United States and given opportunities, we shine.
I mean, I know personally, we just had a Haitian owned rum right here today.
Oh, yeah. I wrote about that rum, and there's a fascinating story about that rum because, it's named after the first documented boat of Haitian refugees that came to the United States.
There's everyday business people who I know in my phone who are incredible, and doing incredible things adding to our society. So we already know. That's why I'm like, is this a joke or are you just like playing a Muppet role?
But I think it takes back to us in general. Like, we just need to know our history, right? I mean, regardless of what your background is, or whether you're African American, Jamaican American, Haitian American, I think just understanding just like our history as Black people, and what we've contributed and where we've from and how did we get here. I think unfortunately that's one of the things. Like, a lot of young people today just think that we've always been free. No, we have. And so when you learn that history, you have an appreciation for it and you're willing to preserve it.
Yeah, it's important. And we have the responsibility to teach our young people and put material in front of them for them to actually learn our history. Yeah. So let's talk about the responsibility. What does responsible journalism look like in this climate today of misinformation?
So I just had this example. Like, we started this conversation. I was saying I had a really long day because I had a Haitian businessman who was arrested by ICE and who was being detained. And I love a good scoop. Okay, I don't want to get beat by nobody. I like to be first, but sometimes you don't want to be first. You got to let other people go, and you have to come in and you want to be responsible because you have to understand that what you write carries weight. And then sometimes, not everybody, no offense, but sometimes the publicists that be calling you, they're trying to spin you in another direction. So you need to dot your I's and cross your T's. And then sometimes the people that you are relying on for information, either they don't respond or even they are like spinning you. So responsible journalism is like taking a breath and then checking it out. I mean, the late Professor Chuck Stone, who was just honored with a Pulitzer he's the founder of the National Association of Black Journalists. He used to get people out of jail with his columns in Philadelphia, and he was my professor at Carolina. But he had a line: if your mama says she loves you, check it out. I mean, who else will love me but my mama? If your mama says she loves you, check it out. So that's what responsible journalism is. It's like, yeah, you want to be first and you want to say, I got you, you want to go viral, but sometimes you got to just slow your roll and you just need to do your homework. So that's what it is. And then understanding the power that you have as journalists, right? Because you can make and break somebody's life, somebody's career. You could affect change. We talked about amplifying voices. That's yes. But, my job is the doctors take this Hippocratic oath to do no harm. And I think that as journalists, that should also be your oath, to do no harm. Yes, you want a good scoop. Yes, you want to have a gotcha. But you also don't want to, be a wrecking ball and you leave people who have no business. Now, if they did something wrong, that's another issue. But, innocent bystanders, you don't want to make them worse off because of your action. That's my philosophy.
Absolutely. Let's get some advice to young people, young women who are looking to get into journalism. What's a piece of advice that you wish you knew when you started that you know now?
Okay, so first of all, your personal life is nobody's business. I have to tell you, I know, look, I mentioned I'm on social media. One of the things that I find so amazing, and this might be a generational, I'm not that old, but I'm only 27, but anyway. What I find is that young people always want to put their whole life story on social media. And what I have tried to convey is that if I'm an editor and I assign you to go and cover something, right? The person that's coming to you, that you're supposed to be writing about or interviewing, they're going to Google you. They're going to look you up. So let's just say you write about the fact that, you had some procedure that was done. And this person, for their religious reasons, are totally opposed to that. And then you go, they decide they're not going to talk to you because they see people should not know you when you're coming, right? Your role is to be fair and to be objective. And they should not be using stuff that you've posted or because you put your whole life story out there. And people should also know that, by the way, when you're applying for a job, oftentimes that employer, they're doing a little social media check on you. So I think that that's one of the things. One of the other things is that our role is not activists. I know that people like to have voice and you want to have personality. And we saw a lot of that in the Diddy trial, that the people of the stories that went viral were the people outside a courtroom that were putting their own spin on it and everything. And that's a struggle that we're having with, right? Traditional media and how do you compete with these quote unquote influencers. But I still think that you want to be able to offer people that objectivity. Like they should not have you sized up when you walk in that room, and you have to approach it with an open mind. I may have an idea about something, but if I come to you and I'm interviewing you, I need to be open to let you or the story lead me to where it goes. If I already have it predetermined, then you're talking to me is like you're talking to a wall. I mean, at the end of the day, all we have is our credibility and my word. I cannot pay you for your story. And I gotta tell you, no, we do not take money. We cannot. We are not like some brand.
No pay to play.
No pay to play. We do not be pay to play. And not everybody's your friend, because if we're friends and you did something great, that's wonderful. And then the minute you go get a murder charge, and now I gonna write about all your business and how you committed this crime, and you're upset with me, but you were okay when I wrote that wonderful story. So I just think that you just want to be able, like, the best thing that somebody can say about me as a journalist, that the story was fair, balanced, objective. Not that I like it. I don't want you to like it. You could say, I didn't like that story. I had an issue, but it was fair and balanced. And that's what I strive for every single day, to be fair and balanced. Because once it's out the door, it's out the door, right? So now your battle is the person who is the subject, is to make sure that your side of the story.
And how often are you putting out stories? Do you have to do something on a weekly basis?
I worked all weekend this weekend. So my bosses don't say, oh, I haven't written anything. In fact, I feel bad. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't written a story. I feel so bad. And my boss like, are you serious? And I have a very bad reputation for not taking a vacation, even working during vacation. So there's not a quota. It's just a question of like the stories. But I still believe in journalism, what I do. And so, I mean, what other job do you get to wake up in the morning and say, So I wonder how Malcolm was about water. How did he drown? Did he not know how to swim? Like, what happened here? And then you actually have an excuse to go be nosy, right? Just call somebody up and say, call up some stranger who's like, a swimming expert. Say, well, can you tell us about that river? And how does a 54-year-old, how does that happen? I mean, that's how like my brain works, right? Where one of the projects that I worked on last year, and it's gonna come out at some point. It's the whole issue of the rape issue in Haiti, and it was very depressing. And I just had this idea, like, well, tell me about this. Like, how does it affect? And I went and started talking to people and ended up with PTSD because I was just not expected to hear what I heard. But different story. Years ago, I had this idea about like, so in Haiti, nobody dies of a natural disease, right? There's always something. There's always a cure. Somebody did something to someone. And I am visiting a hospital in the countryside, and it's built by the late Paul Farmer, who was just a wonderful anthropologist and physician and really believed in the country and fell in love with it when he went there as a young medical student. And he's like just giving me the tour. He's like, and this is our breast cancer treatment center. And I'm like, y'all treat cancer? He's, oh yeah. For 5 years, I had this idea of how do you treat cancer like in Haiti? Like how, the fact that people were getting cancer treatment and people were acknowledging that they had cancer. So I went down on my own vacation because I'm like, my bosses are not going to pay for me to go to some inauguration of a building, but I needed to do my research, and I'm talking to people, and I'm talking to the funders who say, oh, we don't do juvenile cancer here because we don't have enough of those cases. Long story short, I came up with this idea to do a story about cancer in Haiti.
I understand that they have options of different places that they can work.
And often when you turn on your television sets, what you see are males. Like, no offense to the men, but, you see that. So when young girls can see themselves and understand that, yes, we are war correspondents, we're photographers, be the next Oprah. I mean, that those things are possible. And you give a woman a mic, it really changes the room. It changes the conversation because she's bringing something to it that somebody else would not bring. She's bringing experience. And oftentimes as women, we suffer in silence, and we just need to know that we are not alone. And so for me, yes, there's definitely a role for women in media, and I want to see more women step into that space. So thank you for doing also what you're doing and highlighting those places.
I love it. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. This is what I would do. They say, well, what would you do if you wasn't paid to do it? Now, I want to get paid, so make sure y'all donate on womeninmedia.org. Womeninmedia.org. Right? But this is a give back, right? This is my community work. This is my 501c3, right? And I love doing this, with the money or without the money. So absolutely. So what's next for you? Now see your career going. Do you have more aspirations, other things you want to accomplish? Are you gonna turn down in a couple of years? You turning back? Like what's next? Where you going?
Back in the day, it used to be like, oh my God, I want to work for this marquee brand. I want to work for this name. But I think that given all the changes and what's happening in the industry and in the world itself, I just want to do good work. I just want to do journalism. I just want to tell like good stories. There's still places on my bucket list that I want to go and I want to be curious about and bring those stories forward. And I want to have my work have meaning, right? It's great when people say, oh my God, I read you or I get a subscription to the Miami Herald. Yes, please subscribe because of your stories. But I just hope that we can continue to giving voice to issues and that people become much more educated in the decisions that they take, much more educated in the way they see the world, that we become friendlier. So yeah, I just want to have impact.
Awesome. You continue to do that.
Thank you.
So I know you got like a blanket invite from Women in Media. We like, hey, we would love to have you on this season. And I'm pretty sure you and your editor, right? Y'all probably did some research. So why did you say yes? Why did you come onto the platform?
Well, first of all, I have to tell you, I am very shy. People don't think this, but I am shy. It's like you just want to be a fly on the wall. You just want to do your work. When I go, people be like, oh my God, hello, Jacqueline. I'm like, okay. But you're now in a space where you're elevating voices, but then you also have to expose the fact that you're elevating voices, right? To bring people to the table and to bring people to that voice. So I think that, first of all, so when I do get a lot of requests and I can't always do them, or you get that little feeling, but definitely when I saw the invite, it was like, okay, this is great. And then I sent a note to my bosses, I want to do this. because oftentimes, they don't know. And I just think the whole premise, the fact in terms of elevating voices, and I am a girl's girl. I am, I'm about women. I'm about giving back. Some of my best mentors were female journalists, seeing them work, seeing them in action. They continue to support me. So wherever I can do that, that's what I want to do.
Awesome. Thank you. In your own words, what do you think the world needs more of today?
Oh my God, you want me to go that cliche needs more love?
I want you to go wherever you want to go.
I think the world needs to understand that it is part of the world. I think that we are increasingly becoming insulated and isolated, and that's very scary. I am the Caribbean correspondent at the Miami Herald. What I bring to the table is the fact that I'm of Haitian descent, born in an English-speaking Caribbean island, raised by a Cuban-American stepfather, and I've counted more than 24 countries directly in my immediate family. I'm a bridge. I approach every story with this idea that we are more alike than we are unalike. And I think that that's what the world needs now. The world needs to understand that geography does not make us who we are. It may give us ethnicity. It may decide, race, but we are all humans and we just need to be that. And when you do that, and you can truly be your brother's keeper and you can feel for it. So that's what I'm striving for. Like with every story that I do, and I tell you the story of a young girl who's trying to save her mother after being forced out by gangs, and her mom hasn't had dialysis treatment in weeks. I want you, whether you're in Miami, you're in Kenya, you're, in Europe someplace, I want you to feel for this woman, not because it could be me, but because she's a human being. And that's what the world needs now.
Yes, that truly touched me. That answer truly touched me. You mentioned some mentors, but I want to go into wise words learned from women. So what piece of advice did you get from a woman that was profound to you, that touched you, and who was she?
Oh my God, I've had so many advice. I have to tell you that as a high school student in Miami-Dade County, I went to inner city high school. And when I look back at the women who were instrumental, they were my teachers, and they were white women. And I've had black women, but they were white women. And one of them is Chris Kirshner, and the other one is Chris Kirshner, who was my English teacher, and Miss Gibbs. And I remember Chris Kirshner teaching me to care about the world outside, right? She had us, protesting. She had us, I'm going to show my age now, banning Coca-Cola. And having us understand third world and first world. And then I remember Ms. Gibbs teaching me about Marcus Garvey, and like just putting aside the book and says, let me tell you about Black history and what really happened. And what I remember getting from them was a phrase that when I was graduating, I had to give the speech. And I remember saying, I don't want to have a woulda, coulda, shoulda kind of life. And, there are going to be things that you don't achieve or things that you didn't get to do. But for me, woulda, coulda, shoulda means take those chances, look for those opportunities, and go for them. And that's what I got out of them. I got so much advice, but seeing these fierce women who are committed to teaching Black and Hispanic kids in an inner city high school and letting you know that your race, your ethnicity, where you were born, that is not a limitation, that the world truly is yours to explore. And just having me say, you know what, I'm going to go for it. And I'm just going to grab those opportunities and try to live a life without regret.
This was great. Amazing. Any last words you want to say before we end this episode?
No, I just want to say, especially for little girls that are out there, continue to dream. Don't let somebody tell you what you can or can't do. For parents, of girls, support them, no offense to the males. Y'all got it going on. But I think just as women, we just need to be more supportive of each other. And we just need to continue to encourage our daughters or nieces, our little female cousins, the girl next door, that she is not limited and that somebody closes the door, but God opens the window, and just look for that window.
This was awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning to another episode of the WIM Speaks Show. I am sitting here with award-winning journalist Jacqueline Charles, and this was awesome. A lot to take away from this episode. I hope that you continue to tune in. Thank you to everybody who is subscribed to the show. Continue to enjoy what we have going on. This is Women in Media, and we have spoken. Till next time. Bye.
All right. Thank you.
And just like that, we just had another amazing, incredible day at Startup Miami recording season 5 of the Women in Media show. So to our live audience who was here with us, thank you so much for spending your Monday, your day with us. And to all of our listeners tuning in around the world, thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of the Women in Media Podcast Festival and the WIM Speaks Show, where vision meets voices and stories spark transformation. Today, we've recorded our 5th season of the Women in Media podcast in front of a powerful, purpose-filled live studio audience. We laughed. I think some people cried. We learned, we healed, and we left inspired. This is truly amazing because this show started out as a live radio show on the FM dial in Philadelphia. And we were testing some stuff out, and we were learning radio. We were learning how to put the show together. And then podcasting came about, and we're still here. And it's because of people who continue to show up and support what we do, which is people-powered. Each conversation today reminded us why this work matters, why representation matters, and why your voice matters as well. From femininity and future-forward leadership to media visibility, contracts, and wealth building, we amplify underrepresented voices today. Our lineup of dynamic boss women in media and entertainment did not hold back. They dropped gems, they gave their heart, and they also shared much wisdom from their personal experiences. So this is more than just a podcast, as you can see. This is community, and this is a legacy. We want to continue to thank our generous sponsors who were a part of making this season possible. AOI Events and PR, Startup Miami, this beautiful venue, woman-owned business right here in Miami, and Sharp Productions, which is also owned by another woman. Special thank you to all of our community donors, our volunteers, our production team, and the collaborators. Thank you for your partnership. Thank you for your support. And thank you so much to your vision and Women in Media. Thank you. If you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the Women in Media podcast, which is the WIM Speaks Show. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, and our YouTube channel is WIM Global. So wherever you stream your podcast, you can definitely find our show as well. Share these episodes with someone who needs them, who needs to hear them. And if today moved you, if it inspired you, if it touched you, if it reminded you of your power, we invite you to make a donation to our nonprofit organization. You can help support us and keep this movement alive. To our speakers, to our production team, to our volunteers, to our vendors, thank you for making today incredible. And to all the women in media, y'all know I love y'all, okay? Past, present, and those who are on the rise, we see you, we honor you, and we're here building space for you. So thank you so much. This is Women in Media, and we have spoken. Till next time.
Won't you let me grow? Won't you let me grow? Yeah.
Let me go. Just let me grow. Don't smother my potential. Let me be what I was sent here for.